Oh, we didn't see you there. Hello.
Welcome to the inaugural episode of the Peak Sports Podcast, everyone. I'm Nick.
I'm Austin. I used to be the sports editor.
All right, let's get right to it. The SFU golf team did very well at the NCAA Division II tournament. They finished 5th, 6 strokes back of the lead. And they had a lot of award winners this year. Kevin Vina, GNAC Player of the Year, Chris Crisologo, Freshman of the Year. They also had the coach win, John Buchanan, win Coach of the Year. Austin, you wrote an article about this. What are your thoughts on the team?
Sounds good. It's their best finish ever. This is their first GNAC title they won this year. So they won the conference. Yeah, it was a good year. They really moved up. Last year they finished 17th, which was their first year being the NCAA National Championship. But this year they finished top 5.
Yeah, I think they got a good future ahead of them. Every time you can win the Freshman of the Year, you got a reigning Player of the Year who's only a sophomore. I think they're only going to do better next year. I think they can really seriously contend for the title.
And what's next? Track and field.
Yeah, you want to talk about track?
Lindsay Butterworth won the national title in 800 meters. She nearly broke a record. She had a time of, I think it's 2 minutes, 2 seconds, and 88 of those mini seconds. But she just missed the 25-year-old championship meet record by just 0.4 of a second. Her time was just 78/100ths of a second off the GNAC record of 2 minutes, 2 seconds, and 10 mini seconds by SFU's Helen Crofts. That's from the SFU press release. Just so you know, I didn't actually write that.
Yeah, that was a very impressive finish. The coach also won Coach of the Year as well. So I don't know if they're going to do as well next year, though, because she's a senior. She might be moving on to bigger and better things, so to say.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It has a pretty good program, a history of bringing up new people.
Yeah, so do you want to talk about CFL draft next, or do you want to move on?
CFL draft.
Quickly mention that.
Well, this happened a few weeks ago. When was it? May?
Yes.
But this would be something to watch out for you CFL fans, you football fans. Hopefully there's a few SFU football fans out here. Lamar Durant was picked 18th overall in the second round by the Calgary Stampeders. Bibaki Upal, sorry if I mispronounced your name, was picked, he was signed undrafted by BC Lions. Yeah, so I would be very interested to see if they are starters on their team.
It's going to be very interesting, to see if Durant gets much playing time for the Calgary Stampeders. They're the reigning Grey Cup champions, so I don't know if he's going to get many reps in the team.
It's both kind of a benefit and kind of a curse, because if you're on a championship team, obviously there's not as much room as say if the team was last place, but at the same time, you're going to a championship team, you're going to a good team.
He seemed pretty upset on his Twitter account that he dropped that low. He said something like, "Oh, can't believe what's happening," and all that stuff.
But who wouldn't be, really?
Yeah.
Everybody's hyped. Some people are calling him the best athlete of the draft. So a lot of people were hyping up. I don't think there's too many predictions of first overall, but there's pretty big hype. And then to fall to the bottom of the second round, I'd be shocked.
Yeah, I think the reason he dropped, in my opinion, is just because he played NCAA instead of CIS, probably some of the other guys in the draft. He's more used to 4-down football instead of 3-down. And of course, in CFL, they have the receivers can go in motion and kind of run right before the ball is snapped, right? So that's maybe why he dropped. He has to adjust to that, obviously, in the CFL. But I still think he's going to be a very good wide receiver.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to watch. I'm looking forward to it.
All right, so do you want to talk about FIFA quickly, or do you want to move on NHL?
Let's do FIFA.
Yeah, so at the time of this recording, just early in the morning, a bunch of FIFA officials got arrested for corruption charges. I got here 9 FIFA officials, 4 executives of sports management stuff were arrested for receiving bribes totaling $100 million. The president of FIFA, Sepp Blatter, he wasn't charged at all. He's not involved in the investigation at the moment. But apparently these bribes go back more than 24 years. I mean, I'm not surprised by this at all. It's very obvious that FIFA's extremely corrupt. How else does Qatar get a World Cup? Whose bright idea was it to play a World Cup in the middle of summer in like 40-degree weather. They have to move. They're gonna talk about
40
moving it to
probably-
the winter, and then they have to disrupt like all these leagues around the
Probably
world.
50 degrees gets there sometimes. My question is, I don't really follow FIFA, but I'm surprised it only goes back like 24 years, you're saying.
Yeah.
Like, they're probably like an evil organization, like an evil mob, criminal organization. Bettman's probably happy. At least he's not getting arrested. At least he's not corrupt.
Yeah. But what was I gonna say? Yeah, more than 24 years. That's very, very. That's not surprising at all, to be honest. I mean, yeah, not surprising at all.
What do we have next on the plate?
Next on the plate, we've got what do we got here? You want to talk about coaches in general, or just more Babcock?
Yeah, coaches. Let's do that.
So yeah,
cutting
you've probably heard about this now. Mike Babcock, 8 years, $50 million contract. The coach of Toronto Maple Leafs, average of $6.25 million a year. Apparently, from what I read online, this could be $8 million up front. It's a front-loaded contract. He'd be coaching for $8 million a year for the first 3 years.
I was surprised. Like, I'll be honest, I'm not naive. Obviously, everybody's in it for money of some variety, but I thought he wasn't just going to go with the big money contract in Toronto. And to be fair, apparently Buffalo's willing to offer him more, but I thought he was going to go to a team that seems to actually have a future. I still am not really convinced that Toronto has a future. Obviously, with Babcock now, they might have a semblance of a future, but I'd probably go more on the side of Ron Wilson with the 7-8 years before they can be anything.
I was reading something that Mark Crawford said, that he said a coach maybe influences team maybe 7 to 8 points a year. So, I mean, if you think about it, Toronto just paying this guy $8 million to maybe get 8 extra points in the short term. But I think in the long term, it's a good move.
Be honest, I haven't played too many sports really, so I can't really say. But at the end of the day, it's the players. It's the GM, who he puts there. And I haven't really seen much from Shanahan to show that he's actually a really great GM or a really great, I guess, president, evil mastermind, other than paying Babcock $50 million for 8 years, which is committing yourself to a coach for a long time.
Yeah.
Better hope he's good. I guess it won't be any different for Toronto if it isn't, but...
I mean, it doesn't take much executive experience to hand a guy a blank check and say, here, write whatever you want, come coach for us.
To be fair, apparently Buffalo had actually offered him more. Apparently, and there is an actual Toronto factor. I'm surprised. This is the first time the old everybody wants to go Toronto actually came true. Could Stamkos be next?
Why would Stamkos go to Toronto of all teams? They're like 1 win away at the time of recording from the Stanley Cup final. They're probably going to do just as well next year. He's got top line of Kucherov, Palat, Johnson. That is a great line. There's no way that he's going to move from Toronto to from Tampa Bay, to Toronto, unless they hand him like a blank check, like they did with Babcock, and say, here, do whatever you want. But even in Florida where he plays, it's tax free. They don't pay taxes at all, at least state tax. So like he'll make so much more in Tampa than he did if he went to Toronto.
But Babcock and him could return the Stanley Cup to Canada's team.
It's tired of all this Toronto Canada team crap.
But the other coaching vacancies and unvacancies, Hitchcock and St. Louis.
I think they're going to give it one more year with Hitchcock. I think if they don't at least get to like second round, make a serious run at the Cup, with him next year, he's done.
Well, I think it's the sort of case of like Todd McClellan in San Jose or Dan Bylsma in Pittsburgh the year before, where it was kind of mystifying that they actually did keep on the coach, and then it's going to be another first round exit anyways, and he'll just be fired, and now Armstrong will probably have his job out.
This would have been a good year to fire him, because I can't remember a year in recent memory where there's been so many quality coaches like Babcock, maybe Claude Julien might be out there, Dan Bylsma.
Yeah.
That's a Todd McClellan for a bit. Like they could have had any of those guys and they stuck with Hitchcock. So, if he doesn't make a serious run next year, I mean, he's out of a job. At least my opinion.
Apparently, old San Jose signed Peter DeBoer.
I don't know about that one. He had one good year with New Jersey where they made it to the finals, and they beat like New York, which is a good team. Rangers, a top team. Flyers, they performed very well against, if I remember correctly, but he didn't do that well in Florida when he his first time, and he didn't really. And besides the Stanley Cup Finals thing, he didn't really do much. So it's going to be interesting to see how if he can finally get that San Jose team kind of over the hump and kind of break their underperforming playoff record.
Yeah, I think he's a Paul McLean kind of coach. Or that, and to be honest, let me get this straight. I really only watched the Western Conference, so I'm sort of speaking out of my nether regions. But he seems to have been able to take maybe a team with not very much talent and maybe take him to Stanley Cup, in 2012. And correct me if I'm wrong, because actually they had Kovalchuk.
Yeah, they had Kovalchuk and Parise that year.
But still, it didn't really seem like it was a cup contending team.
Oh no, they weren't. I don't think anyone had any expectations of making the finals that year.
I don't know. I personally go with a coach that's more known for an offensive, more offensive style, like Bilsma, who's apparently or possibly going to Buffalo now, would be a good fit for San Jose.
I think that would have been a better fit for San Jose. Peter DeBoer, I remember that 2012 Devils team. They just dump and chase all the time. So maybe he may not be a right fit for a team that has guys like Marleau and Thornton, but I guess we'll see.
And what about the tail 2 mix in Edmonton, McDavid and McClellan?
Oh, McDavid. I think McDavid has a very serious chance of becoming a point-per-game rookie. He could do as very well as Crosby his first season. I mean, he's the best. He's the best talent to come out of Canada since Crosby, in my opinion. He's a generational talent, so I think he could do very well next year. And as you know, fans of hockey in Lower Mainland, at Edmonton. He's gonna come here maybe 3-4 times a year. That's very cool.
And so, what else do we have to talk about?
We've got
This is real. This is real life stuff. This is reality.
We can talk about just general NHL playoffs. Talking about NHL playoffs so far. We've got the Western Conference Finals at the time of taping. We got Anaheim up 3-2 to Chicago, and then we got Game 7, Tampa Bay, New York. Austin, what are your thoughts on the playoffs so far?
Well, I honestly thought that Anaheim was going to fold in the first round, and I've been proven quite wrong. Yeah. That was the most terrible prediction I've ever made. I thought Winnipeg was way better than they would be. I thought that Winnipeg was forming into like a Boston-like team. I thought, they're going to, and the Ducks, they'd fold because their goaltending. I honestly didn't think Bruce Boudreau had it in him to be a playoff coach. But they're so deep. And going back to Winnipeg, they're actually probably at least a year or two away from what I thought.
Yeah, I picked Winnipeg in 7, and then Anaheim swept them. Literally the exact opposite happened. But yeah, I was looking at their advanced statistics before the playoffs, and I wasn't very convinced of Anaheim. I think they only had the 18th best score-adjusted Corsi in the league. Their advanced stats weren't very impressive, and they proved, I think, everyone wrong. I think everyone thought they could maybe make a run, but Bruce Boudreau, he's never been past the second round until this year.
And I also thought this was the year where Chicago was going to appear. I don't know, I just had the feeling that they didn't really look as strong, and now they're in the Western Conference Finals.
I thought they would be a very good team because think about what happened when they won the Cup in 2013. Their centers behind teams were Bolin and Handzus. Now they got Richards and Vermette. I mean, that's an upgrade. I thought they would be making the finals for sure this year, but this didn't happen. And Tampa Bay was my pick to win the Cup this year. I mean, they had such a great season, and now I don't know if they'll even win Game 7 Madison Square Garden. I mean, Lundqvist is just unbelievable. Game 7, I think he's won the last 6 when I saw on TSN.
Where I saw his stat was that Bishop, what did he have, like a 2-point, or what was his goals against at home? And then on the road, he was like 1 point.
I think in Game 7s, I saw somewhere, yes, a ridiculous 965 save percentage. He just does not lose Game 7s. So I don't know if Tampa will be able to pull it off. Their chance to win it, I think, was Game 6. Well, I think they have to win that game.
Well, my prediction will be half right for Stanley Cup. New York might be able to go to Stanley Cup Finals. It's looking a lot less likely for Vancouver Canucks at this moment. I'm still hoping for a late-stage comeback, but fingers crossed, maybe Bettman, Jeremy Jacobs can conspire to bring the Canucks into the Stanley Cup Finals, but probably not.
You want to do hockey trivia now?
Yeah.
All right. So here's how it's going to work. First, just simply, first to 3 wins. All right, you can go first, Austin.
I'm confused by format, but so NHL trivia. Why did Latvian goaltender Arturs Irbi refuse to play for the Soviet Union in 1991?
Because maybe they were occupying Latvia at the time, or what country is he from?
Latvia.
I guess they were occupying it. I'm not sure. You didn't agree with it.
I don't know. That was probably a terrible question to pick. 'Cause it wasn't really a yes or no answer. To defend Latvia after they declared independence from the Soviet Union, and so he actually went to front lines to go help defend them. Apparently, I read on Wikipedia. My brother told me about this fact. What does the audience think? Yes or no?
That was interesting.
No, I mean, like, did he get it right or did he get it wrong?
I got it right?
I think you got it right.
I think that counts.
I think you got it wrong.
Boo! Yeah.
I think it's a bad question.
Terrible. What is this?
I
What is
think
this?
it's zero
History
and
trivia?
minus 1 point for all.
Yeah.
Whoa! No.
All right. Austin, who won the 1994 Hart Trophy?
Mark Messier.
Fortunately, that's incorrect. The correct answer was Sergei Fedorov.
Okay, this one's a bit more of a good, right or wrong answer. There's no debatable in-betweens. So this is a bit more local. Which GNAC team? But not actually, they're not GNAC for hockey, but they are GNAC as they compete against SFU in other sports. Did Curtis Glencross play for?
Played in the GNAC?
Well, no, because they're an NCAA team, Division I team in hockey, but they're GNAC in most other sports, including basketball. So they play against SFU, just not in hockey.
Gonna say Montana.
No, we're close. Let's do negative points. The Alaska Anchorage Seawolves.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh, okay. All right.
according to Wikipedia.
What's the question?
Kind of.
Yeah, we're in the middle of something. All right. What are the players to win the Conn Smythe Trophy, but their team not to win the cup?
I'm just trying to think. We even went to the cup and whatever. Was Jaguar one of them?
He was one of them.
I think you asked me this weeks ago, and I should have learned.
You probably should have taken the hint.
Okay, so we got Jaguar. I want to call someone in the audience.
This isn't Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. There's no phone a friend.
Well, I thought you were being Regis Philbin, so I thought. Jaguar, where good teams lost the cup. I'll take 1/3 a point.
Is that allowed? 1/3 of a point?
Yeah, I'll
Sure.
take one.
All right. Whatever. Yeah, you were right with Jaguar, but the others were Ron Hextall, 1987, and Reggie Leach, 1976. Both played for the Flyers.
Oh, and then I have to ask a question again. So, there's our 3. Okay, this one's easy. I don't know why I left this one to be the last one. But who are the Canucks' ECHL affiliate?
Oh. ECHL. No, their AHL's Utica. ECHL.
This one's easy. Anybody who goes on Wikipedia 5 times a day knows this.
Is it the... I don't even know any ACHL teams.
I'll give you a hint. It's not the Brampton Beast. For some reason, I get Brampton Beast emails constantly. I'm on their mailing list. Whoever the previous sports editor was had the Brampton Beasts on their mailing list, I guess, because who knows, but I am. And I know all about the Brampton Beast. And their affiliate is not the Canucks. Bet you wish you were allowed to call the
Yeah.
obvious factor.
Probably should have allowed that. Is it the Hershey Bears?
Hershey Bears.
Oh, that's
believe they're
that's an
still
AHL team. Damn.
Just because you're not going to guess it, I'll give you one more crack. Had it. Not one more crack. I don't even know what that means, one more crack. But
I got no idea. I'm drawing a blank here.
it is the Kalamazoo Wings.
Kalamazoo Wings.
Don't you know where Dane Fox and Curtis Volk play? Aren't you keeping up on the Canucks prospects who will probably never play in the Canucks play?
Guess not. All right. What is the record for? Who holds the record? Sorry, for most teams played for, and how many teams did he play for
Like in one season or just the overall
in
career?
his whole career?
You know, I don't know hockey issue too well. My most recent example I can think of is Yager, but that's probably not the answer.
No. It is Mike Sillinger. He played for 12 different teams over his career.
It seemed kind of low. Like, I mean, it's a lot, and you only max that like probably require being on a different team every year. But you kind of figure there's somebody who's just
He's played for every team.
Mark Arcabello could be there if he keeps up the old waiver game.
I think he holds the record. Like he's tied it for most teams in one season. That's what I was reading.
Did I ask more questions? Or-
Yeah, we can ask a couple more. And how about we do this? It's overtime now. Whoever gets the first one right wins.
What even? This is a terrible idea. Why? Who's even scoring this? I don't think I am. I assume that I have 10 points and you have 2. We never actually decided that.
We're both at 0. Yeah.
Okay. Again, this one's another. I picked mostly easy questions, but who was the Canucks' first ever draft pick?
Oh, Dale Talon.
Yeah, that was pretty easy. But what does he do currently?
He is the general manager of the Florida Panthers.
Yeah, that one's pretty easy too.
All right, I'll ask. How about this? If you get this one right, you keep on going. But if you get it wrong, then I win.
I'm not agreeing to his terms until after your question.
Okay. Who holds the records for most goals in one WHL season?
One WHL season. It's a lot of years to go back. I'm going to take just a guess. It's probably wrong, but Gilbert Brule.
No, the record holder is Ray Ferraro.
Ray Ferraro.
Scored 108 goals in one season, if you can believe
Whoa.
that. That was like in the high flying 80s when they scored. Every game was like 6-5.
I wonder if he was like doing play-by-play while doing that too. Maybe like scoring goals and then commentating.
In between
his own-
shifts, he was
Yeah.
he was in between the benches
Well,
commentating.
no, well, he was like skating. And that guy too, me. And then I scored the goal. It was a really good goal.
All right, I think that's a wrap for the podcast, the inaugural episode. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you soon.